Let's talk about product release updates. You know, those emails that you have to send at the end of the product release, and you have to draft them in such a way that every member in the team understands them. Now, back in the day when I was still learning on how to write a product release update, I would end up writing either a very long email explaining nothing, or it would be so short that it actually explains nothing. Either way, it was not an effective communication of what was released and what impact it had on the team. There are different types of product releases that happen. Level 1 is something that you have fixed, very minor. Those are product improvements, bug reports that are fixed. Level 2 is where you would like to inform the customers as well, but not like a big PR. It is not as big as an announcement to be worthy of, let's say, a news article. And level 3 is basically your big features, product launches that are big enough to be announced outside as well as to your internal teams. And I'm talking about level 1, which is your regular communication out to your teams on a regular basis. One of the traps that I fell into initially in my career was to look for templates and frameworks that would be ready to use. You know, I could just go on the internet and see product release templates, probably why you're also watching this video. If you take a template from the internet and try to force fit your information into it, it might look good visually, but it might not serve the exact purpose that you need to serve in your company. Think about product release as any other product. What is the purpose of sending this communication at all? What do you plan to achieve with this communication that is being sent? And if you assess it from that angle, your format will automatically develop for you. So what I want to do in this video is go through a thought experiment. Let's think about what we want to tell to our internal teams and how do we want to communicate that. So let's go through this thought experiment together. Now, when you're drafting a product release update, there are certain questions you want to keep in mind. One of the major thing is, of course, what is released. So as you can see here, what is released is like describing your feature change in max 2 to 3 lines, especially if you have multiple features released. What you would like to do is describe that change number 1, change number 2, and that is your what part. Now that is of course important, and when you're drafting this, you can take help of certain AI tools to improve your writing. If you feel you're exceeding, let's say, 10 lines, 20 lines trying to describe something, you may want to improve your writing with AI and sort of shorten it or make it more effective that way. The next thing you would like to do is, who is it for? So keep in mind, who is this product release for? If it is for an end customer, it totally changes the game. You may want to involve your product marketing team or your marketing team in general and get their help as well. But if it is for your internal teams, which is what I'm focusing on here, this is what you would like to be aware of. Who is it going out to? Because based on the team, your choice of language might change. The third thing to keep in mind is, how does the feature help? This is where I made a mistake. One of my mistakes was I just described what the feature was and what the fix was, or let's say what the bug report was, and I said, hey, operations team, this is done, without explaining what was being done and how was it helpful to them. So the way I started drafting my product release notes is, change 1, whatever is the feature, I would explain what the current problem was and what the solution was as part of this fix or part of this feature. And then I would have a demonstration of how it works. This is where you can have multiple formats. You can either do a screenshot plus a description. You could also do a video on Loom kind of products plus screenshots plus description. Now it's totally up to your team's consumption power. It depends on how they like to consume this. Some people also prefer a live demo, so you may have to choose that as a format in addition to a release note like this. So keeping this in mind, let's go through some examples and see how this would actually work. Imagine a platform for sellers who are selling on, let's say, e-commerce sites. They have their own dashboard where they can see all the stock and the inventory that they have. Now, sellers can offer discounts for each variant of the product: Samsung phone at 10% and Samsung phone white at 25%. This is a feature description. The immediate question is, okay, why did we even build this feature? So that's where you have to explain what the problem was. So this is what the feature is. Every seller can now offer discounts on each variant of the phone. Think about your Flipkart product where you have, let's say, Samsung phone in black color and in white color, and you are able to now offer discounts on each of this variant. Now, who is it for? The impact is, let's say, high impact. It's for all customers, and the medium impact is for account management and seller support teams. It's important to highlight who is it for very clearly, because this is what is going to make it interesting for the person who needs to know this. So your seller support teams need to know that this kind of feature is going out so that they can upsell it to the clients. Once you you've got through this, who is it for? Now the people's attention has been captured. Now you explain why this feature was required. Now, one of the things that I've done here is problem and solution. So our research identified a key pain point for sellers. They couldn't add different discounts for each variant. For example, if a seller uploaded a product with two variants, Samsung phone in black and white, they could only apply 10% discount to both colors. Now you see why this has become an important feature all of a sudden, because sellers do want to apply different discounts to different phones. The product earlier did not allow them to do that. And if that's your feature, you want to highlight the problem quite well. You also want to mention the limitation it had in the current product, which is sellers' ability to offer targeted discounts, and then you go ahead with the solution. Now, when you add product, you can add individual discounts to individual variants. You can also support this with a demo of your feature on how it works. How can a seller actually do this? You can do a Loom recording, or you can add a bunch of screenshots and help the team understand this feature. Let's take a second example. Imagine you're an e-commerce company and you get a lot of cancelled orders, and all these cancelled orders need to be refunded, right? So you ordered something for 100 rupees or $100 and someone placed a cancellation order. Now you want to refund this. Once you have refunded, the finance operations team needs to know how much money was refunded. They need a refund report. So that's the requirement here, and that's the feature here. So the feature description is refund reports for the cancelled orders can be directly downloaded from our admin portal. Now this is very clear in itself, but the second section makes it more interesting for the impact. So the high impact is on the finance operations team. It's very specific. When you highlight it this way to the teams, they know that it's mainly for finance operations team. But when you talk about medium impact as well, like this is for payment operations and customer support as well, because they may have requested these kind of reports in the past. Now you explain why this feature is helpful to them. This is where you would say finance operations team did not have an option to download report directly from our admin portal, and they had to request our technical team to get the report on a weekly basis. They don't have to reach out to devs anymore, is the main crux of the matter here. But you see how this has highlighted their problem. Now they find it more relatable. Oh, great. This is an amazing feature. When you go to the next section, which is how it works, see how I have described it for now, which is you want to tell them exactly where to find this report and how to find this report. Because it is an internal team, it's a relatively small feature. You can choose to just have a screenshot and a way to get there. So I have mentioned here, go to admin dashboard, click on financial data, go to reports and see the report over there. Now this will help them go and navigate to that specific feature. Another thing you want to keep in mind is that you need to maintain a centralized library of sorts for all your product updates. Now, this is something I did very late in my career because I assumed that once I have done this feature release, I've informed everyone my work is done. I don't think I need to maintain anything. And I was wrong. I started maintaining centralized library of all the product release updates. If they don't have time to see a Slack update or watch a Loom video at the time you post it in those channels or sent an email out, they can actually go to the libraries later and check out whatever they want at their own pace. You can use your existing tools to do that. If you use Jira, you create a folder in it. If you use Google Suite, you create a folder in your Google Drive and then store all the updates there. You don't really need a new tool apart from what you are already using. Just find a way to chronologically log everything as a product release note. Have a way for a team member to come and access anytime they like. I will be linking my blog in the description as well in case you want to go and refer it. I want to close this by saying, do not just copy the template that I shared. I hope this was helpful to you in some way. Thanks for watching this video.